going to be that which we need for our own safety and security. That's the primary thing we need to keep on the forefront of our awareness. And of course, you do certainly want to take care of your body and you want to make sure that you're okay. But on the other hand, the body can be an illusion that keeps you from understanding your true identity, which is not merely localized within the body. So when people are accusing others of being stuck in ego, what they typically mean is that they're identified very strongly with the body, and they want to go after those things which will promote the security and the health and the vitality of the body. Now again, there's nothing intrinsically wrong with this. If you understand true spiritual teaching, at least true in terms of how I see it and how many others have seen it, everything in the universe is acceptable. Everything is part of one intelligent continuum, and we're all given these gifts as to how we will think and how we will feel and how we will believe. And we can choose whatever we want. There is no right or wrong answer. There's only various options that we're given by the universe so that we can find a path for ourselves that will be acceptable and will give us a sense of renewal and continuity as we move through these journeys of our lives. So another very important esoteric point is that the universe allows for good and evil as we would identify those terms. In truth, everything is part of the flow of the universe, and to identify anything as evil is actually a misnomer. It's a superficial understanding of a greater continuum. If the universe truly is everything, and there is only one consciousness, and that consciousness has made all matter, and it's made all people, and all worlds, and all solar systems, and all galaxies, then quid pro quo, any logical reasoning would conclude that all the things that happen within this universe are part of its creation, and it's part of the design. My personal system that I use is the Law of One series, allegedly channeled by an entity known as Ra in the early 1980s, most of it about 75 sessions in 1981. Now again, I have come at this from a scientific perspective. I read my first book on ESP when I was 7 years old and began practicing those exercises and getting them to work for me in very fascinating ways. But it wasn't until I found the Law of One series that I ever truly believed that anybody could channel and that it was anything other than their conscious mind, perhaps with some subconscious imagery and commentary thrown in. Now, with all that being said, the Law of One is in a class of its own because in the early 1980s you got a whole cosmology that was spelled out, which had many scientific elements that are very complex. In fact, all the things that I was sharing with you earlier about interplanetary climate change and the idea of a wave of energy from the galaxy intruding on our solar system and causing shifts not only in the planets but in our own human consciousness, all of this is covered in the Law of One series well before there was any scientific data to back it up. So to me that's pretty impressive. It's even more impressive when the Law of One series is describing a host of different extraterrestrial groups, all of whom are aiding and assisting humanity, and you get very precise similarities between the descriptions of who, what, where, and when in the Law of One with what we're actually now hearing from insiders who allege to have worked in top-secret classified government projects. This is one of the areas that's fascinating for me. I've spent a lot of time working with different whistleblowers and talking to them, finding out what they're about, where they've seen things happen, and what their perspective is on a variety of issues. And I will tell you this, there is no doubt whatsoever in my mind that extraterrestrials do exist, that they have visited this planet, that they have crashed their ships here, that we have indeed reversed engineered the technology, and that in fact many of the technologies that we're now taking for granted in our daily life are a direct result of this extraterrestrial endowment that we have received. Now when I'm talking about the esoteric principles of the universe, let's go back for a moment and discuss the fact, again, that all things in the universe are part of a continuum of experience which is ultimately leading us back into oneness. It is my contention that this oneness is loving in nature, and the experiences that we would identify as negative or as sorrowful or painful are in fact experiences that are allowed to occur by the universe. There is nothing that happens to us that is not part of this plan. And that, of course, includes things that can be suffering or even lethal to a physical body. Again, if you are stuck in the ego consciousness, if you identify yourself with the body so strongly that you can't perceive an identity outside of it, then it may be easy to assume that anything that would cause the body damage or even death would automatically be a terrible thing. Of course, the universe is not seeking to torture anyone, and it's not seeking to punish you. But at the same time, we do live in a continuum in which both birth and death are part of the experience. And if you also follow this esoteric science, you learn that reincarnation is another key aspect of this. So there are times in which we will choose a lifetime where we will have a death occur at a particular point. And again, if you read the works of Michael Newton, as I discussed on Coast the other night, he talks about people being regressed hypnotically to a state in between lifetimes. And in that state in between lifetimes, what happens to them is that they experience a full review of what they're going to be doing in the next life. They actually get the opportunity to choose the major experiences that will happen to them. Now, on a superficial level, you might not think there's anything positive about, for example, having a car crash and getting your leg smashed up. But on a deeper level, we actually do oftentimes choose what experiences we're going to have and when we're going to have them. And injuries and setbacks are issues which will actually force us to withdraw from what we had been doing up until then and to go within to find a more secluded and introverted path, which sometimes we need. Extroversion is certainly a quality that will get you a lot of friends and a lot of publicity, but there are also times where you want to really be quiet and alone with yourself and withdraw from the things that you were doing and have time to be in that silent communion with the universe, which doesn't always occur. But even when the body is in a great deal of physical pain, there is often a chance for you to have that rare gift of being able to connect with some deeper aspect of yourself. In working through the pain, you have to find a consciousness that is not strictly identified with the physical body in order to feel like you're not going crazy. And that can be something that really actually is a very healing process for you. So when you begin to understand that the universe is fundamentally loving in its basic nature, then you wrestle with the fact of how it is that these experiences that seem negative can happen. Again, we are only superficially in these physical bodies. The body is not our identity. It's a temporary place that we reside in, and we have that illusion that we have a separated consciousness. This is our gift, and it's what we're put on this planet to do, to have this body, to live these experiences, to go through these choices of which way we're going to go, and who we're going to talk to, who we're going to love, etc. And when we move deeper and deeper into the truth of our being, we're going to see that all of the experiences that we have, everything, is something that we invited on some level. And it's invited so that we can grow, so that we can understand our true nature, our true identity, and our true purpose. For that same reason, when we are in a state where we do not love ourselves, it is not the place of the universe to manifest people who will be loving towards us. When we're in a state where we don't love ourselves, we have that classic law of attraction that's occurring, in which we attract people to ourselves who will treat us the same way that we've been treating ourselves. We will attract situations that are unloving, situations where we're being rudely disrespected, where we're being treated without the care and the compassion and the love that we feel that we deserve on some level. And as you go through these situations where people are saying things to you that are hurtful and where you're having sorrow and pain, you keep asking yourself, why do I have to go through this? Why do I have to experience this? But on another level, hey, you can choose to hang out with whoever you want to. And one of the things that beings at the level of Ra keep saying is that there are no paradoxes. You never are in a situation that you cannot change. You never are in a situation that is unresolvable. You're never trapped and you're never stuck. with that being said, many of us have gotten really stuck in the idea of people pleasing, where what we do